All right, so there we are. Here we are today at our student meeting. I hope to have 3 or 4 more of these because there was too much I had to tell you today that I didn't want to add to the meeting or make it too long. I'm trying to keep these meetings to 75 minutes. Me and Brother Roberts were talking about that. We'll probably have him back. He may not realize that because career is a big concern of mine early in the year. I'm going to talk about other things too, but it's a concern early in the year here. Okay, first of all, I just want to give you some recommended career resources that we have available, and I want to talk about another one, and because there's a certain place this all fits in. We're open enrollment now for our trade tech classes for college credit for spring, just in case you want to grab yourself some general ed credits. Christina, let's just do this now. Let me do this now. Hold on here. I will. Let's go ahead and share with you. I do have something that will help Christina here. She doesn't know it yet. Okay, there you go, Christina. Why don't you talk about that real quick? Christina?
Definitely. So this spring, we're going to be offering 2 courses, Art History 101 and History 11. These 2 courses will be college credit. They're being offered by Trade Tech. So if you are interested, classes start on the 26th and run all the way to June 6th. If you're interested, feel free to email me and then I can give you that steps and guidance on how to register for these classes. And then textbooks will be offered to you. However, if you are a college student, the process is a little different. So I'll make sure to give you all that information as well. But anyone who is a current high school student will get these 2 classes for free.
Okay, you can spread the word too if you have siblings or friends. And Christina's running that effort. So that's why on the slide here, I actually have her name on here because she's the one handling that. cmartinez.eep. We'll make the presentation available to you afterwards. We're going to send you all the presentation. Don't worry. Just sit back and look at it. And you'll get a chance to get a copy of it too as well. Okay. Okay, that's why we did the registration. All right. We're going to have scholarship incentives if you do the trade tech class. We haven't decided on those. I just got approved for the budget literally 2 days ago. So I haven't figured out how to cut it up. And this will be above and beyond making any West Angeles scholarships we do later this year. This is something different. Okay. It's a different pot of money. I know I got her here. I got to make sure I tell her that so she doesn't go crazy with all my emails. So there are scholarship incentives, and I guess I should tell Imani that too, because she has a chance for Gwen Thomas. And so this will be separate from that, okay? When you get the paperwork, just turn it back in for the Gwen Thomas and all that. Okay, but this is anybody who takes a trade tech class will be in the pot for it. And then, of course, I'm pleased to announce Delete the Divide. It's highly recommended by me. Let's see, Christina could... I'm a little bit challenged here. Could you look up Delete the Divide?
Okay.
They have a front page that's very colorful, and I'll tell you what to click on when you have it ready, let me know. I'll let you share. Okay? And we'll come back to it if we have to. But that's a great program. It's going to allow you to take classes. I think I heard one of you talk about, you will really understand this. It allows you to take classes and get online certifications, $300 or $400 course online. To learn how to, but it'll be free. It's going to be free if you register through our program and use our code. It'll be totally free for you. Okay, you have your hand up, Christina. Does that mean you're ready already?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, that quick?
Yeah.
I didn't count on that. Hold on. All right, Christina, you can now do it. And while I'm doing it, I'm going to make Brother Roberts co-host, so he'll be all right away. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah. So this is the Delete the Divide website. It's at deletethedivide.org. It's really a LA County website. And if you click youth and young adult there, Christina.
Yes. Okay. You say young adult?
Up top. You click, yeah, there you go. And so you scroll down slowly. There you go. Stop right there. You can see these different ones over here. Point to them, Christina, over to the right. Project manager, network engineer, GIS analyst. And these are all things you can get certified. Cybersecurity, beginning cybersecurity, web application. I think every college student should learn how, especially if you're a communications major, you should get hands-on on your own, teach yourself how to bust a website. Bust a website means be able to do a website. I think that's a valuable skill. If you become the only person in your nonprofit or your first job or your internship in DC, for those of you that are there, George and Imani, if you have that skill in DC right now, you're going to roll. You're going to roll. Because some old folks like me don't want to be busting a website. I was interested in it 10 years, about 20 years ago, but I lost interest every year after. But that's something you guys can be good at. Look at the film and digital editor. That's a certification you can get. Network engineer, all of these things, project manager, all of these things have certifications. They cost normally from $3,000 to $1,000, sponsored by Google, Meta, which is Facebook, EA, which is that education, was that entertainment arts company, which is over there in the LMU. They're the ones behind this, their money. I don't know if you all know, Google is really insecure that they're not going to have enough trained people with degrees. That I've read some of the Disney and Google are terrified right now. And they're pushing programs like this to nonprofit organizations like me. I think we have about 1,000 free slots. We're using 5 right now for a beta test. We want our college students to go on their own and log in. The problem is when you log in, it's going to ask you for your organization. And we have the codes if you're interested in taking the course. Okay. But those that are seeing it here in Zoom, also on YouTube Live, and those of you that see it as a video tomorrow or the next day, a lot of you were in class, couldn't see it. Get a hold of me so I can get you in touch with Yared right away. Just email me. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put that on email me or Christina. How's that? You saw Christina's email in the beginning. Just email her. She'll just pass along to Yared. Yared's the one handling it from Yared Jonas. Some of you know him. All right. Thank you, Christina. Get that back to me. Yeah, there you go. She knew to give it back. You notice that? All right. Okay. All right. Continuing on here. Let me let Marquise in. Continuing on here. See our important recent college student videos on YouTube. We have a lot of nice videos. If Quinn were here, I was going to ask her to organize them by alumni as one last. She's been organizing those. We have our own YouTube video site. We have over 100 videos now, and we have a lot of them that pertain to college students and graduates and career-related videos. You can go right there and subscribe. You'll see every video that I drop. You can find it on our website. Some of you know about our website. We're sitting over there at let me go ahead and maybe I could do it this way. I think I can. Oh no, can't do it that way. Anyway, we'll just tell you what it is. We're a little stuck for time here. weststate.org, www.weststate.org. I think it's right here. Yep, www.weststate-eep.org. If you go there, you'll find student videos. You'll click the banner at the top to the right a few times. You'll see my YouTube video page. Go there. There's a lot of stuff. Also have a career page at the website where you'll see Brother Robert's stuff up there. Some of his legacy stuff is still there. His latest articles go up there as well. You'll learn more about him in a few minutes. I got about 7-10 minutes of view graphs to show you here. All right, just wanted you to be aware of the things that we're doing, okay? Those are our career resources. We'll have some new career resources really soon we want to tell you about, but we can't right now. We have a couple of employers that want to offer exclusive internships through our program. We're almost there on that. We're just not prepared to make that announcement right now. College is not only about getting away or getting a degree, it's about starting your life. And we're going to talk a little more about how to do that when Brother Roberts comes. And there's some challenges in the post-COVID world. I'm sure he'll touch on that. Please recognize that the career starts are experience-based, right? And let me just move my stuff out of the way here. Yeah. And it's about starting your life, okay? It's about starting life. It's about getting a related degree, i.e., and there are some of the areas that are career-related, right? And notice I'm saying related because I think he'll touch on that career. I think we both agree, him and I, that career and major are really two different issues. Please recognize great careers where a degree might help you get access, but don't require the specific major. Some of you might come out of college and still wondering exactly where you fit in, you might have a lot of skills, you're not sure where to use them. Please recognize careers that are not a major, pre-med, pre-dental, etc. They're really not a major. The only career that is a major that I know of, and maybe others know, is engineering. I mean, how are you going to be an engineer without an engineering degree? I guess that's okay. But there are aspects of engineering. When I was in engineering, we had people on our engineering team that were mathematicians we had on the team. Interesting, huh? Mathematicians did a lot of the calculations there, yet they were considered engineers. They were physics majors too. That's kind of close to engineering. College is not about getting away or getting a degree. It's about starting your life. Why are you created is probably ultimately a spiritual issue, right? Why you created. Psalm 139:14, I believe we'll hear more about that. I will praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are your works, and my soul knows very well. College choice should be about starting your life. It will be hard to see this after how adult decision makers, we adults, have taken away a lot of the push of that because of our response to COVID. But it still remains that you have to be the master of your future. So have a career plan as using the college that is chosen. Except for engineering, please do not be rigid about your major. It's usually not an important consideration in picking a college. And I would say now that you're in college, if you're starting to feel you should make a change and it's early enough, some of you here said that. You've now solidified in your third year, you know where you're headed. But I want to encourage you, if you're early on, you're trying to make that change, don't be afraid to step out and think about that. We're going to help you with that today. Picking a major is a strategic, deliberate career and life decision, not in any way an academic decision. I used to say, oh, it's an academic decision. What do you like in college, school? Oh, you can get better and better at majoring in Russian theology. I don't know. It's not, in that sense, an academic decision. The BA degree, a lot of you are going to get BA degrees, communication, the ones I've seen lately. As a nonprofit director, I like the communication, psychology, sociology, business administration, marketing. Those are the most common ones I'm seeing today. I'll show you a map. I've actually mapped those out for the last 7 to 10 years where my students have ended up in their careers, particularly those that I'm aware of and have done well, but kind of where they go. I'll show you that in just a minute. Some of you may have seen it earlier when I didn't have as much data, but I've fleshed it out now. Nearly all colleges have these degrees and do them well. So don't worry about, do they have a good sociology degree? Do they have a good psychology degree? I hear that a lot. Nearly all colleges have these degrees and do them well. But it's the alternate skills and experiences that are important. Nonprofit office work and certifications in computer, media, and tech, which I just talked about a minute ago. Common career skills acquired in classroom and projects. So you're getting career skills in your class. You know, one thing I left off there is the classrooms, projects, and sometimes co-curricular activities on your campus, like the clubs you join, you get involved in. You'll see these skills that are developed in the classroom and the projects and these clubs that you're in. Written communication, teamwork, working in a group, oral communication skills, web development, there it is again, social media and marketing. These are all skills you can acquire in classroom and projects, but also on the outside. So think of it that way. All right, now I mentioned this map here. Here's a map that I did. It was very tedious doing it. I looked at over about probably 150 of my graduates from college. My BAs in sociology, this is where their first jobs were. Drug counseling, marriage and family counseling, city and county recreation, college admission, administrative staff. These are my BAs in psychology, my BAs in sociology. Okay. Now, some of my BAs in psychology, a few of them went on and ended up going to masters in psychology, and one or two ultimately see patients. Let me turn off my phone. I'm so sorry. Our BAs in psychology and marketing and communications went into nonprofit office administration, social media directors, public relations, their first jobs, okay? Assistant to the communications director, assistant to the marketing director, and the human resources and strategic planning individual, okay? Then over here, my BAs in biology and chemistry were teachers, researchers, health science professionals, pharmacists, nursing, and some of them go on to medical school, believe it or not, to get the classes required. But incidentally, that's a good way to get into the medical field. You really major in something else and just take the classes you need to pass the MCAT. But that's another discussion. Maybe I'll do a video on that real soon. I haven't done that in a while. BA degrees that don't work quite as well when there's very little connection to career path. Degrees like this are mission majors, not career majors. For example, I did them in that order on purpose. When you see blank studies, I heard someone in there had a studies degree, but you had another degree with it. I think that was Megan. Megan, what are your degrees?
African American studies and then sociology.
I like that combination a lot. A lot. You just don't know. You could have dynamite in your hands. I like that combination, but I very seldom like them all alone. I like something with it, or at least a lot of experience in parallel with it, right? Alternate skills and experience. Nonprofit offices as a volunteer, for example, you can do a lot of that kind of work. Common knowledge acquired in classroom and projects. I talked about that. Here's some things you can get in, again, classroom and projects, and you get in clubs that don't necessarily have to have a degree for them. You can get them another way. You can take classes in these things and still get it in your repertoire, right? A lot of this oppressor versus oppressed and equality of outcomes, equity training, critical race and gender theories. These are things you can get in classes. Of course, if you have a minor in it, like or as a second major or along with another major, you get it too. But these are acquired in classroom and projects. You don't have to always feel like you have to have that as your only major. Not as your only major anyway. Social justice theory and history, of course. Beware of passion versus career. And like social justice is a wonderful thing to most. I won't get into politics today, but as a career, you need something else to go with it. I have a lot of my students who came out thinking they would do that, and they're really walking in circles and they're unhappy. And a lot of it is that, they felt it was a career. It's a passion. It's a very important passion. I mean, I love history a whole lot. I'm always reading about history. During the pandemic, I listened to books. I don't read audibles, I listened to probably about, 60 history books during the pandemic, these types of things. So you want to be aware of careers in these areas. You want to really work hard to get other skills. Like you could work for a women's studies center when you come out of school, but you're going to get hired because you have other skills. I mean, that's what I was just talking to, saying to Megan, she has dynamite in her hands. I mean, if this kind of school she goes to there and the type of clubs and involvements I know and experiences she's having, that's what's going to make her hireable in these areas, not just an academic major in these. These are not careers of financially sustainable jobs. We look at them all by themselves, right? You're going to add something to it and add some push to it and some experiences to it and things you can put on your resume that will help. I think Ronald's going to talk about that. With inflation, it's going to take you $35,000 to $50,000 per year to live with a roommate. Think about that. It's important to care about women's rights and LGBT and Black rights, but it can't always put food on your table. I got a lot of students that found that out and they're not very happy, and I'm checking on them a lot, and they're very unhappy with society and just not very happy. But my students that get other skills, that get into that, and they're really energized and they're growing, and it's amazing. So always think about other skills you need with it. How about a minor? We just saw an example of that. Co-curricular studies, or even with a known or other career objective, they also work very, very well. Okay. How about education or enrichment activism? Smiles. Well, that's really what I like to think I do. I'm doing education and enrichment activism. And boy, let me tell you guys, with all this families that are upset about mandates and the educational system falling apart for our students, I definitely do see a need to put on some people who can think of me about how to get more active in the community and put pressure on getting the right education to our students who fell behind during the pandemic. Our students were way behind their test scores in this last go around with LA schools here. How about remembering to use the 2-year colleges to start career training. That's a good thing. Look at all the certifications you can get. I'm really interested in that digital media and the computer and networking certification. These are great certifications. There are going to be a lot of jobs, but these other ones are viable too. They all can be started while you're in four-year college on a parallel path, or just pick it up afterwards. You have your degree and a certification. Are you kidding? You're going to be really dangerous and able to take care of yourself. It's important to develop a career while you're in college, right? As your 4 years of college. In the old days, Ronald might remember that you come out of college with your 3.0, you get a job, right? Well, today we got to do other things, right? We got to do on-campus work, general employment and entrepreneurial related work, campus leadership and involvement programs, parallel tech certification training. And then, of course, we have West A and two-year college. We have our program, but we have parallel training like through the digital divide. I think that's a way to get started, but there's other ways too. Get yourself other skills. You can kind of teach yourself and do things these days. Education is more so enrichment than ever before, and it could be a personal issue. Use your summers, right? I put 0 to 4 because there's 4 summers that you have. I call the summer over here. I call this summer over here summer 0, but you're probably in one of these here. Most of you here today anyway. There could be others on the video than the first summer. So we're using those summers to get those same. So you got to use your summers and even during the school year, building related skills that will help you in addition to your 4-year degree. So you have to do much more than just a 4-year degree. It's never too late to do it. Look, even out here, after 4-year college, you can get involved. It's important to also get some credits while you're in college, right? Some general education courses will be a good idea, either to shorten or keep it 4 years. Here's some good first year or two general ed classes. These are the most popular ones my students have taken in their first couple of years and done pretty well in college. I think I had some conversation with Ty about that. This is good stuff. You can get a lot of these courses nice and early. Intermediate algebra, that's the one I didn't need to have there probably. All right, well, those are some ideas for you. And I'll definitely share that presentation. Did you laugh, Ty? Hey, Ty, did you register for next semester yet?
Yeah.
Did it work out?
No, I'll tell you after class.
Yeah. You call me up. Hit me up, man. All right. Okay, good. Okay. All right. I guess I'm going to introduce Brother Roberts here, Ronald Roberts here. I'm going to say a few words about him. I got almost freestyle it. He's my brother. He's, he's like an MVP, but a third down back at the same time. If you watch football, I don't know. You ever seen like a 6 man that could be MVP, Ty? Yeah, it's kind of like what he's like. I don't know. Some of y'all met him last year. He's a recruitment and public relations specialist for the Griffith Company, which specializes in civil construction projects in Southern California. Yeah, I know about them. In this role, Ron is responsible for the company's experience, hire, and college recruitment efforts. Woo, I bet that's a story in and of itself. We could write a little paperback on that, how they saunter in there with it. I'm going to ask you about that later, okay? Okay, Ron also leads Griffith Company's community service initiative, oversees selected marketing projects, plays a critical role in the company's employment engagement activities. He's worked in several careers and career services. He was at USC. That's where I first probably stumbled across, I don't know, it seemed like that, right? All right,
possibly, so yes.
Yeah, LA County Office of Education, didn't know that. Corporate recruiting and diversity at Ernst & Young. Woo. Wells Fargo, Union Bank, y'all, and the Griffith Company, and K-12 initiatives and families in school. Outside of his day job, he does this. He encourages high school and college students around their career. He does some one-on-one advising and career, and he's worked with organizations and churches. See, that's how I found out about him. See, he does a lot of work with us. College student groups. He's the only person that I'm allowed to exclusively present on our website. I'm very careful who I put up. But he's got some good stuff on our website. I often forget about it. You should go to our career page. He's got some really good stuff in it that will give you tips and hints, because he really understands on the campus how the career thing, how career services works, and what recruiters look for when you go to those little fairs. And I think he knows a lot of little stuff. I'll ask him some questions at the end, you all too. He resides in LA with his wife, Kelly, and he's inspiring students in their career preparedness. So now I present to you, not too late, Ronald Roberts, Ronald Roberts Jr. Go ahead, Brother Ronald.
Thank you, Deacon Wilson. I really appreciate it. And once again, you're too generous with your kind words. But it's an honor to be here and an honor to continue to partner with you. And it's great to actually connect with you all, students. And I'm excited to be able to do this. And so looking forward to being able to share some information that's going to hopefully be a real value to you. We're going to talk about branding, and I'm going to put my spin on it. You guys, I'm sure, probably have heard, probably various talks about personal branding. So I'm going to put my spin on it just based on my experience. And I'm a marketing person. I love marketing. So it's fun for me to share this content. So before I get into my presentation, I did want to touch on a couple of things that Deacon Wilson prompted me to think about, and also just to be able to be in alignment with a couple of things I know that he wanted me to touch on. So first of all, just want to encourage you all to continue to leverage what Deacon Wilson's putting out here. I think he has done an amazing job with all the content he's provided in terms of college and career readiness. And one of the things I really appreciated him about early on was not only was he trying to get young people prepared for college, but he's also getting them to think about their careers. And there's some organizations where it's focused on getting students into college, and that's great. But there's that big career piece. So once you get into college, you got to get in, you got to get adjusted, and so you can have good experience. But you also got to start thinking about your career. And so I really appreciate he's always had an emphasis on that. So definitely continue to participate in activities like this, because there's a lot of stuff. And I can tell you from my experience, a lot of powerful stuff that he's sharing. Also, I want to talk just quickly about your College Career Center. It's going to be one of the best resources you can tap into as you are really trying to smooth your path into your career. So obviously you got your professors there. Your professors could be a great resource. You got mentors, you got alumni who hopefully will come to campus to help. But your College Career Center is going to be able to help you with everything from really trying to figure out what careers might be a good fit for you, to preparing for actually developing your resume and cover letter, preparing for interviews, preparing for career fairs, networking, negotiating salary offers. There's a lot that they can do. And they also can keep you in tune with which employers are coming to campus, who are providing information interviews. So if you haven't checked out your College Career Center, I encourage you just to swing by, set up a quick meeting, find out how they can help you. But they can help you a lot. And I can tell you from my experience, and I'll tell you a little bit of my background in just a moment. But from my experience, when I was working at a career center, the students that would come in their freshman and sophomore years are the ones that tended to do very well. And the students that would wait until their senior year or until close to graduation are the ones that had a real hard time. And so you want to be sure you're in a position where you're getting multiple job offers and you're not the person who's graduated and you can't find a job. Okay. Now, fortunately, you are in a great job market. And so there are opportunities, but it's not always like that too. So you want to do your legwork while you're in school. And then one other thing I wanted to say too, and this is more obviously Deacon Wilson asked me about, is so he talked about, I like what he said about passion and major. And there is, definitely all that's going on with the George Floyd issue and, constant economic inequities and everything, the prison pipeline, all the things that you hear and that, I know you guys are passionate about. There is obviously a real interest in getting into social justice and really finding careers around your passion. And so I'm good. I definitely think you all want to have a career that you can be very interested in and have some kind of passion for. I think your career should be just a have to, something just to pay the bills, because that'll get old quickly. But you can always volunteer or have an avocation outside of your day job. And so an avocation is basically, your activities, your volunteering, your hobbies, or whatever you do outside your day job. And so you can always, cater to your passions. It doesn't have to be all wrapped in your job. Now, if you're fortunate to get a job where it speaks to all your passions, that's great. You're very fortunate. But so just know that too, that if you get a job and it doesn't entail everything that you love, that's okay. Just want to make sure you save time to be able to have hours outside your job where you can really cater to your passions. And so there are lots of opportunities to be able to volunteer your skills and your time and your experiences too. plenty of nonprofits out there and other community organizations that would love your assistance. And so just keep that in mind so you don't feel so locked in. So, and let me just say, Deacon Wilson, you get asking me to address a couple of questions, and just going to touch very lightly, and you can, if you want me to delve in a little deeper, I can do that too. But just in terms of some of the unique challenges regarding the career world post-pandemic. And so, as you all know, with COVID, a lot has gone virtual. And so, as a student, if you're looking to do an interview, there've been a lot of virtual interviews. Some companies will still have in-person interviews, and our company has had some in-person interviews, but with restrictions. And so there's a lot of virtual interviews, you have virtual career fairs. So lots of virtual. And then that rolls over into the work world where people are working remotely now, more and more than at any time, people are working remotely, and people have also hybrid jobs where some people are working remotely part of the week and coming in the office the other part of the week too. So that's definitely had a big impact. And of course, meetings are being held virtually, travel's down. So people aren't traveling, to as many business meetings. So those have definitely been some impacts, some factors. As I mentioned earlier, there's a hot job market out there too. So there are a lot of people who are leaving the workforce. And you guys have probably heard the term the Great Resignation. And so people are leaving the workforce, and it's really impacted women and mothers who have been, forced because of what's been happening to come home and to be able to at least be with their kids. So that's one thing. And people are switching jobs, now too. And people realize that, hey, life is short. There are other priorities, and I don't, want to feel chained to this employer that I feel is not really respecting me. And so there are a lot of people switching jobs. And there really had been a trend more recently where your generation, people a little bit older than you, were more inclined to stick with an employer a lot less than Deacon Wilson and I would too. So those are just some of the things that I picked up. There are more things that we probably share a little later on, but I just wanted to put that out there before I get to my presentation. So Deacon Wilson, I think you gave me permission to share my slides. I'm gonna go ahead and put my slides up. And you guys, I want this to be interactive. I'm not looking to lecture you. So I'm gonna share some thoughts based on my experiences, but I really want to hear from you all. So I'm gonna give you an opportunity to ask questions and to be able to contribute to our discussion as you talk about branding. All right, so let me my presentation. All right, can everyone see that okay? See the slides all right? If you can see the slides, okay, just go ahead and give me a head nod. I think you're frozen.
Not yet.
You just said
they
it just not up.
yet.
Just started sharing though.
Okay.
It just started sharing.
All right, let me know when you see it.
I just need to see that screen if you reset it.
Yeah, on my end, you guys are all frozen, so there must be there's a connection issue, I guess, for me.
All right. Oh, I see you though.
Okay. Now you guys are frozen.
Oh yeah, we can see. I can see it now.
Okay, perfect. Perfect.
I think they can see it.
Okay. All right, great. So let me just okay, terrific. All right, so just real quick about my background. I'm gonna watch the time here, Deacon Wilson, because I'm gonna save time for questions. So as Deacon Wilson mentioned, I was at USC. I spent over 16 years at USC working as a student services, a career services advisor. Absolutely love my experience there and love working with college students and helping them with their careers. After that, I transitioned into campus recruiting. That's pretty much college recruiting. So I worked for a public accounting firm for a few years, and I really supported their college recruiting efforts. And eventually, I moved into some other roles. I moved into experience hire recruiting, where I was recruiting folks who already were in the workforce, but looking for opportunities outside their current employer. I did a little bit of diversity work. That spent some time, about over a year, working for an educational-based nonprofit. So I had a chance to do have some different experiences. Now, one thing I'm gonna say to you, I wish that I could tell you that it was all planned out. It wasn't. There were just some things that happened beyond my control, and so I had to experience some layoffs. And so it's not something that I, proud about, but it was a part of my career experience. But it's one of those things where I learned from, and it helped me to become a better employee, I should say, and helped me to become better at being able to support young people like you, just being able to share my experiences and lessons learned. So this is a bit about my background. So I do have love for UCLA. I was a big UCLA sports fan before I got to SC, and my colleagues for 2 years tried to convince me to come over the USC side. Finally, I eventually did because USC was paying the bills. So
I didn't know that.
Big on USC, but I do have some love in my heart for the other local colleges and sports teams too. So, all right, so let's go ahead and get into building your candidate brand. All right, so first thing I just want to just share with you all is that we all have a brand. Okay, so whether you like it or not, we all have a brand. Our brand's our identity. It's basically who we are, what makes up who we are, and what we stand for. But your brand is also your reputation. And this is one thing people don't think about. But your reputation is what people think about you and what people say about you when you're not in a room. And so you can try to project a certain image, and your perception, you're coming across a certain way, but your true brand and your reputation really is what people perceive of you. Okay. And so you think about the brands out in the marketplace, any brand you can think of. It could be footwear, it can be soft drinks, it can be restaurants, it could be any business. And so that brand can do the best they can to kind of craft a certain perception, but ultimately they're going to be judged by their consumers. Okay. And so same way with you, you want to be able to craft a great brand as much as you can, but you're going to be judged by your consumers, potential employers, or just other people who have a perception of you too. So I think it's really important to spend time really thinking about your brand. And so we're going to spend more time talking about what that is and how to be a little more effective at it. One quick question, Esteban, can you remind me what college did you go to? I missed your college.
Shadron State.
I'm sorry, what's that again?
Shadron State.
Spell that for me, please.
Chadron, and then State, State.
Okay,
The
where's
Shadron State.
yeah. No, but where's that located at?
In Nebraska.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, good deal. All right, so let's move on. So definition of a brand, a kind of variety of something distinguished by some distinctive characteristics. So here you see some brands that I'm trusting are pretty recognizable. And so each of these brands has distinct and powerful characteristics that separate them from others. And each brand also offers significant value. And so, for instance, you have In-N-Out here. So you have other competitors like McDonald's and Burger King and other burger chains. And so they each have their own identity. And In-N-Out could hear, because I know they have a very, very powerful identity that separates them from others. And so I wanted to ask you all just something real quick. I want to get your thoughts on it. So let's talk about Disney for a moment. When you think about Disney, what comes to your mind? What words, what images, what comes to your mind when you think about Disney? And you can take yourself off mic if you want to put it in the chat, that's fine too.
Family.
Family, yep. So about family values.
Yep.
Okay, what else?
George?
I was gonna say family, but but next, I guess you can say animation.
Yep. Of course, they're big on animation. So family, animation, fantasy. Okay.
I would say like kids or children, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they're very kid friendly, very children friendly. Yeah. Anything else? These are good. So family, kids, fantasy, strategy. So Ty, okay, I got to ask you about that. What do you mean by strategy?
Disney, yeah. I agree.
I say strategy because you gotta go about how you're gonna sell your product, go about how you're gonna market it, your target audience. It's a whole strategy about the whole thing.
Yeah. That's great. Thank you for sharing that too. Disney, like any successful company, it's been very strategic. And you think about all the acquisitions.
Very, very strategic.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And you think about all the acquisitions that they have too, and they've made over the years, and just to be sustainable, and to really keep their position in their market, too. So they have to be very strategic. So great stuff. All right. So how about In-N-Out? What comes to mind when you think about In-N-Out?
I think West Coast.
Okay, West Coast. Yeah, this SoCal based primarily. Yep, great. What else?
Obviously burgers.
Yep. So burgers is one of the things that they primarily sell. What else?
Ashley?
Having young employers.
Having young employees, yes. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
they're very big on that. What else?
Ashley, you don't like them? Ashley?
I like have it better, but I would probably say customer service.
Okay, great.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Fantastic customer service. Ethical. Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff.
Mhm.
And how about Nike? What comes to mind when you think about Nike?
Do it.
Just do it. Yeah, they're a popular
Just
slogan.
do it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Worldwide, yeah, they're a global company. Yeah.
Fashion.
Passion. Yeah.
Wow, who said that one?
That was me, Deacon.
Oh, you. Oh, okay.
You can see that. Okay. Yeah, passion. And they elicit passion too. And it's funny too, Nike is very polarizing. And so they're about passion, but they
Yeah.
also elicit passion. You know, there's some people who love them and some people who hate them, you know, too. So they're a very polarizing company. Anything else about Nike?
You should be a politician. That was a good way of putting that. Very good. That was very good. That was very good. You're gonna have to talk more. That's the only problem.
So, all right. So thank you all for sharing that too. So the key takeaway, you know, once again, is that these brands are very powerful and they really create passion. They create strong impressions when people think of them too. And so so you want to ask yourself this question: what makes you distinct? What makes you stand out from others? And what makes you valuable? And we're gonna talk about value in just a bit. So really just be thinking about that in terms of your brand. Okay, distinct, stand out, and valuable. All right, let's move on. All right, so think of your brand as a product too. So this is somewhat connected to what we just talked about too. And I really like this because, you know, each of these products on the screen are pretty popular among consumers. And it's because they provide, you know, immense value. Okay, so you got Starbucks. And I love talking about Starbucks because you have people every day, they go to Starbucks, they either are standing in a long line or they're sitting in the car, in the long car lines, and all to pay more for coffee there than they would elsewhere. Not only have you know, fancier customized coffee options, but you know, every day you can pass by a Starbucks, long lines, and it's because people find value. They find immense value in Starbucks. People are busy, but they're willing to invest their time and more money in Starbucks. You think about smartphones and how much time we spend on our smartphones and how much people are willing to pay for the latest smartphone. And it's because they are deriving value from it too. And so you think about any of these products where people are investing time, they're investing money, they're investing energy because these brands, these products are providing them value. And so the question you want to ask yourself is, what value do you offer consumers of your brand? Okay, so whether it's your school, whether it's your classmates, whether it's your potential employers, what value do you offer people who are going to consume your brand? And you want to be able to offer the kind of value where people will want to invest time and money into you. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. So just be thinking about that. Think of your brand as a product. All right, so you want to understand your value, the value you have to offer others. And so one thing I want to make clear, and I shouldn't have to say this, especially since you connected to Deacon Wilson's program, but you got value. You got value. I'm sure Deacon Wilson has told you in a number of different ways and impressed upon you. You got value. He shared the Psalm 139, you know, fearfully and wonderfully made. So as believers, you know, God has made us special. He's made us unique. And he loves us. And so we got value from that standpoint. But I know growing up, based on what kind of environment you've been in, whether it's at home or at school, you may have gotten messages that were counter to that. You know, you're too dark, you're too light, you're too short, you're too tall, you're too fat, you're too skinny, you're too this, you're too that. And that impacts us. And I can tell you that growing up, you know, I was teased a lot in junior high school. And to this day, you know, I still have some sensitive spots based on that teasing. As crazy as it is, you know, all these years later. And so we have these negative impressions early on that stay with us unfortunately, sometimes. So you want to be able to see yourself the way God sees you, and just understand that you do have value. He's made you with value. And so I wanted just to share just a few quick areas in which you can offer value. So number one, your education. And so as an employer, I don't expect that you're going to know everything when you finish school. But I do know that you are learning how to learn. And depending on where you're going to school, I know that some schools have, an education that has maybe a little more quality than some others. But the key thing is you're learning how to learn. And so that can provide value. And you're developing skills, of course, but then your abilities and skills. So what you're good at doing, whether it comes naturally to you or whether you've had some kind of training. And so this can provide value to employers and to others. And your knowledge. And so some of you know things that other people absolutely don't know. And so that can also provide value. And then your personality. And so whether you're conscientious or you're high achieving or you're friendly, outgoing, passionate, your personality, aspects of your personality can provide value to others. And then your experiences. And so much like your knowledge, some of you have had experiences that other people haven't had. And some of your experiences have been very positive and some have been negative, but yet they've worked together to shape you into the person that you are, and hopefully someone who can provide value to an employer. And so really don't undervalue the experiences that you have. And then finally, your value system. So what's important to you? So whether it's your friends, your family, your faith, education, making money, social justice. So your value system, if in alignment with an employer, will provide value too. And so one of the things I always recommend students to do is when you're researching potential employers is to really understand their values, what's important to them, and see how it lines up with your personal values. And then at that point, you can know whether or not it makes sense to continue to look to that employer. So just some few ways that you can add value to others and especially to employers. And folks, I'm moving on, but if you haven't any questions, please don't hesitate to stop me because I want to make sure this is clear. All right, so real quick, some goals to target for your brand. So brand identity or clarity. And so you want to make sure that people are clear on your brand. You don't want people to engage with you one day to come away with an impression and then they engage with you at another time and it's a completely different impression. And so you make sure that your brand identity is clear. It's not confusing. Next, brand authenticity. You want your brand to be true to you. And this to me is important, particularly as you're talking about connecting with employers, because I know that people going to career fairs or their networking events or interviewing, there's that temptation to try to be what you think the employer wants you to be. And people sometimes will lose sight of who they really are because they're trying to make an impression. And I just wanted to encourage you that if you are being the best you that you can be, there will be employers out there who will want to hire you. So not everybody is for every employer, not every employer is for everybody too. But there are employers out there that want to hire people with different personalities, different skills, and so forth. So you want to be true to who you are. And just know too, if you try to fake it into an interview, you may be found out, or if you even get past the interview and you get the job, at some point you can be found out. The truth's gonna come out. So you want to be true to who you are and just trust that there are employers out there who want to hire who you are. And next, brand awareness, visibility. So you can have the best brand in the world, but if people don't know about you, then it's not going to do a whole lot of good. So you want to make sure that you're getting out there. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about this down the line, but you make sure that you're visible to employers so they can understand the brand that you have to offer. Next, brand engagement or appeal. And so your brand needs to definitely be compelling. And so you want to have the kind of brand where employers will want to be able to connect with. And we'll talk a little more about that. So make sure your brand is appealing. And then finally, brand loyalty, commitment. And I really like this because you can have a brand that's engaging when an employer will see you and they'll want to connect with you at a career fair or maybe in an interview and they feel connected to you. But if your brand isn't sustainable, then employers and others will disconnect from you. You'll start to lose value. So you want to make sure that your brand is engaging, but it's also sustainable so it can engender loyalty. So let me give you a quick example. And it's not patting myself on the back, but just giving you this example, real life example. So unfortunately, I've had a couple of times where I was misunderstood by people who really didn't know me. And they questioned, it really came down to them questioning my integrity. And I was fortunate that God put in place people who really knew me, who were able to vouch for me. And they're able to say, no, that's not who Ron is. You know, you may have misunderstood, you know, yeah, this is. And so you want to be to have the kind of brand where people will stand up and be loyal to you as well. So that's just an example of that. All right, so just to give you some idea of what I'm talking about, so some of my brand descriptors, and just I put here on the left just some logos. These are brands that are, you know, I think mean something to me. Some I really, well, this is not, the Disney company's not perfect, obviously, but I really like what they stand for. So like, you know, magic, imagination, and things of that nature. Family, In-N-Out, I'm a big In-N-Out fan. I love the customer service. From the East Coast originally, South Jersey, so I'm a big Philadelphia sports fan, so the Eagles. Unfortunately, they lost this past weekend.
I was going to say. All right,
So-
go ahead, continue.
So anyhow, so I have to be Eagles fan. The fact that I said that after they lost. So anyhow, Hallmark is at one point I was an aspiring greeting card writer. So anyhow, so those what those mean. But anyhow, some of my brand descriptors, I consider myself to be very creative. I'm an optimistic person. I see the glass half full. I consider myself a mobilizer. I like to be able to bring parties together, to be able to get things done. I'm a catalyst. I like to get things started. Consider myself encouraging. I'm very student-centric, and so I love things like this, and as Deacon Wilson knows. And I'm also a Christian. I'm a man of faith, too. And so those are some of my brand descriptors and things that people know about me and things that I stand for. So I want to take just a few quick moments to do an exercise. And I'm watching my time here, Deacon Wilson, because I don't want to go over. But I'm going to ask if
Go ahead, preach, brother.
Okay, so after the students can kind of engage with me in the exercise, so I'm going to ask you to really think of these 3 questions. You don't have to address them all now, but I want you just to be thinking about them. And so think of 1 or 2 brands that you admire and why. It doesn't have to be the brands on the screen, it can be other brands, but think of 1 or 2 brands that you admire and why. Number 2, how would you describe your brand currently? So what do you think your brand is and how would you describe it? And then finally, what do you aspire for your brand to ultimately be? So I'm going to ask you to think about those questions, and I would like for some of you just to be able to, in the chat or take yourself off mic, to address at least 1 of those questions.
I know somebody likes to have it.
So take a moment and think about that, and then either put your answers in the chat or you take yourself off mic and answer at least 1 of those questions.
Boy, I need to answer. I would tell you I'm a Redskin fan, but you'll laugh at me too.
Oh yeah. and Deacon, I gotta tell you one thing too that's so funny. I expected the Washington football team to actually be ahead of the Eagles too. So
I did too, didn't you?
Yeah, because and they were actually, to me, in my estimation, they were a better team.
Then the end of the year, they kind of crapped out.
Yeah, so it was really strange.
Yeah.
Too, but yeah, so it's gonna be interesting too. They're gonna have a new nickname coming up, and so it'll be kind of curious to see what they come out with.
Right. Oh yeah, that's right. All right, anybody ready to answer? I know who might answer this. I think I know who's going to answer first. All right.
All right, and once again, feel free to put your answers in the chat or to take yourself off mic if you want to
speak it out.
Your questions.
A brand I said I admire is Adidas.
And that's about. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Why Adidas?
Because when we were in high school, we used to play like 7-on-7 football. They would hold they would host the events, and then they would give us cleats, and then basically they would come to they'll come to our city, and then they'll show the inner city kids love. They'll give us cleats, shirts, and then the chance to playing for the Scouts or their case may be. So I admire them for the opportunity and the platform I guess they gave us.
Yeah, terrific. Thanks for sharing that.
They're very community oriented. I forgot that about Adidas.
Who else wants to share?
What brand you like, Bryson? What are you thinking? Penny through your thoughts.
Well, I was trying to. I thought you were supposed to answer Well, I wasn't sure which ones we were supposed to answer, like in general.
How about brand? What brand do you?
Anyone.
Yeah, anyone.
Okay, if I just answer like one of them?
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
Okay. Well, what I'm thinking is, or at least how I describe my personal brand, I think in general, I'm a pretty vocal person. I think people perceive me as someone who is like willing to like speak up for things, talk about things, and like just like a generally well-liked person. I don't know if that describes the question adequately.
Sure.
That's what I'd say for that one.
Okay. Thank you. So vocal and well liked. Okay. Terrific. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, let's have maybe one more, and then we'll move on.
Maybe Imani. What's your brand, Imani? Come on. What brand do you admire? That's all. I love making people laugh. What you like? Come on now.
How about the maker of your glasses? Those are fashionable glasses.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess I like Warby Parker. That's where I get my glasses from because it's affordable and like everything in one place. Yeah.
Yeah, great answer. And they have some nice commercials too.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Pretty good quality, I guess. So yeah.
Okay. Good deal. All right. Thank you all for sharing that. I appreciate that. All right, so let's go ahead and in interest of time, move on. All right, so I'm gonna go through some of this a little quickly. So you want to obviously understand your value. You want to now start to understand what employers are valuing too. And so I if you have more time, I would ask you all this, but I'm gonna move on real quick. And so just want to show you just some of the things that employers value too. And so some of these are very common,
Oh, this is good.
characteristics. And so, obviously you hear a lot about leadership and working well in teams and being dependable. And sometimes you hear about communication skills, and communication skills are so key. There's an annual survey that's put out by an organization that represents both employers and colleges. And communication always ranks in the top 3. And I think this past year they were number 1. And so that's written and verbal communication skills. And so, but employers are also looking for things such as people who are friendly and outgoing, people who are creative, entrepreneurial skills too. So some employers are looking at that, emotional intelligence. And so being able to know how to manage your own emotions as well as being in touch with emotions of others. So you can know how to connect well with people, cross-cultural skills. So we're obviously living in a more globally connected society. And so you have people from all backgrounds and generations working together too. So these are just some of the types of qualities that employers typically look for too. And so as you're really crafting your brand, you want to be sure that your brand is speaking to what that consumer, the employer, potential employer is looking for. Next, be prepared to share your brand. So work on crafting your brand. But you also want to be prepared to share it. And so let's look at some quick examples. So some opportunities to share your brand. Obviously, your resume comes to mind probably initially. It's generally one of the first things that employer will know about you. Just a sheet of paper that shares, highlights of your experience, your education, your skills, volunteering, things of that nature. And then you have other things like career fairs and networking events, group projects. So you're working with students quite a bit, so you'll be able to share your brand there, how you show up in these group projects, student organizations, social media, obviously. And social media definitely provides lots of opportunities for people to really share their brand. Some people do very well. Some people probably don't do it quite as good as they should. Some stuff they put out there. Volunteering. So anyhow, so these are lots of opportunities to share your brand. So definitely encourage you to, as I mentioned earlier, to make yourself visible. And whether you're putting together a resume or preparing for an interview or for a career fair, really be thinking about the kind of brand that you are going to share with a potential employer. All right, so let's talk about the 30-second commercial elevator speech. And this could be a whole—
Take your time on this.
Okay, so this could be a whole presentation. And so, does anyone know why this is called the 30-second commercial or elevator speech? Anyone have an idea why it's called that?
Yeah, I think I've heard of this concept before. Isn't it like you have, like if you're in an elevator or an important space with someone, you're going to have like 30 seconds to present yourself?
That's correct. So you know, if you think of the amount of time you're on an elevator ride, And so it could be anywhere from 30 seconds to a minute or so. And so if you were to meet somebody that you really want to impress, a potential employer or just a professional, and you wanted to get connected with them, you want to be able to, in the span of 30 seconds to maybe a minute, to be able to share who you are and then possibly, how you can offer value too. So that's why it's called a 30-second commercial or elevator speech. And so it's pretty simple in terms of putting one together. The tough part is really just the delivery too. And so it's everything, just from who you are, what you're studying in school, so it could be your major, whether you're a freshman or sophomore or junior and so forth, what industry or career you have an interest in, and how you can contribute. So we talked about your values, so your education or your experiences, your knowledge, your abilities and skills. And then I'll take it a step further, how you can uniquely contribute. So, let me back up real quick here. So when you're at a career fair and you're talking to an employer, it's going to be an exchange, but they're going to usually give you the first opportunity to be able to talk about yourself. So they may say, hey, thank you for coming to our booth. Tell me, a little bit about who you are or what you're looking for or what questions you have. So that's your opportunity to jump in. So yeah, I'm Ronald Roberts Jr., currently majoring in communications, and I'm hoping to get into public relations. And I'm really interested in your company because XYZ, okay? And so I would say give it a pause there and give the employer a chance to kind of respond to that. Oh, great. Thank you for your interest. And let me tell you a little bit about some of the internship or job opportunities we have to offer. And so give them a chance to talk. But at some point, you want to be able to share how you can possibly contribute to them as a potential intern, as a potential full-time employee. So that's when you could talk about some of the courses you've taken. You could talk about some of the projects you worked on. You could talk about previous internships. You could talk about job experience in which you were able to develop skills that are related. You can talk about training that you've taken. So there are opportunities for you to share. And, and once again, you're going to have a short period of time. So you really want to be able to spend some time trying to craft it and really timing it out. But those are some things you can say. So the difference between bullet 5 and bullet 6 is when you talk about how you can contribute, you may share some things that 100 other students can share. You all have taken similar classes, you're involved in similar clubs, maybe some of the internship experience is similar to other students, but you want to go and take it another step. It's like, okay, I have all these common ways that I can contribute to an employer, but this is how I'm different. This is why I'm different. This is why you should hire me versus maybe 100 other students there too. So just know that some of the things you can contribute to employer, you're going to have in common with other students, but you really want to spend time thinking about what makes you unique. And I can tell you that when I've gone to career fairs, I'll talk to a number of students and the pitch is a lot of times the same. It's like, okay, they've taken this course, they worked on these projects, they're involved in this club, so it all sounds the same. And that's okay. You're just starting with what, they have, but you want to be able to take it to the next level and be thinking, okay, so what makes me different from all of my friends that, have taken the same courses, that are involved in the same clubs, have the same kinds of internships. So that's going to really be up to you. I can't really tell you what that is, but that's going to be up to you when you think about what makes you unique. But go back to what you know, go back to what you've experienced, go back to your skills and abilities, go back to your personality traits, and do some deep digging, and you'll be able to come up with some things. You can also talk to people who know you, people who care about you, and ask them, what do you think makes me unique? What do you think I have to offer?
I wish some of my students would do that with me. They don't know how good they are.
Yeah.
Like these ones in here are really sharp students. They maybe should have a little quick conversation with me in the next week or two.
Yeah, I would definitely endorse that, Deacon Wilson. So yeah, you got someone who's in your corner like Deacon Wilson, and so you give him an opportunity to be able to build you up and give you some more ammunition that you can use for employers. So these are just this is just a way to get started. You can always go online and there are sample messages that you can use to be able to craft the elevator speech or there's a commercial. But these are just some elements. But definitely you go to a career fair or if you're going to a networking event, spend some time really crafting your own elevator speech or 30-second commercial. All right, so getting towards the end, And so this next slide is really connecting to something I talked about earlier, and that's being authentic, being your true self. And so when you're sharing your brand, you want to try to be as natural as possible. And I know when you're going to the career fair or you're at an interview or a networking event, it's hard to be natural. It's hard to be relaxed because you're excited, you're nervous, you want to make the best impression. But at the end of the day, we tend to shine best when we're who we are, when we're ourselves. And so I'm going to encourage you just to have confidence in who you are and just simply be who you are, but be the best who you are. So spend time thinking about your brand, spend time thinking about how you can add value, but just, just be natural with it. This is who I am. And I talk a lot about sharing your candid brand versus, I'm sorry, I had another way to say it, but I talk a lot about sharing information, because I feel that you're doing the employer a favor by simply sharing who you are and what you can offer them. So kind of look at it that way. So versus like, I'm really trying to impress them because I want them to like me, I want them to hire me. Just simply, be confident in who you are, and you're just basically doing the employer a favor. Hi, my name is Imani. I'm an Esteban. This is who I am, and this is how I think I can contribute to you. And just simple as that. And that'll kind of help the nerves kind of come down natural, and just trust that if you're not necessarily right for that employer at that time, that's okay. There are plenty of other employers out there. All right. And so, but just be, keep that in mind. Okay, so just know that people generally want to know the true you, and knowing the true you is going to help to broaden their perspective. All right, and so we need a lot of diversity. And one of the things I'm convinced of is the reason why some companies stay in trouble and are haven't moved forward, and our government, is that people are hearing from the same people and not hearing from enough people.
Yes.
And so, so by virtue of you sharing who you are, you really are actually providing value to an employer or to your school. And so we need to hear diversity perspective. And so that we can get the best collection of ideas and solutions to our problems. All right, so finally, be yourself or be your best self. All right, so Deacon Wilson, we're almost done. Two more slides and very quick. So be visible and vocal. This is really important to me. Oftentimes people will get on calls like this, they've been involved in classes or meetings, and they won't say anything, okay? And because they're intimidated. And believe me, I understand it. I understand how tough it is to speak up, when you're in a group of people. But I can tell you the people that are visible and vocal are the ones that typically get the opportunity, okay? Because people know them. And so you can work as hard as you can at your job or in school. But if people don't know you, don't know your value, your opportunities are going to be limited too. So I'm going to encourage each of you, if you're not already doing it, to find your own way to be visible and vocal so that you can have those doors of opportunities open to you. So when you're in sessions like this, to put something in the chat or to take yourself off mic. I'm not expecting you to do it tomorrow if you're shy and you're comfortable with it, but I'm going to encourage you to start thinking about it and then pray about it and just ask the Lord to help you to figure out how you can find your own way to be more visible in vocals in a setting like this, because those are where the opportunities come. Okay, and so I tell students and our young employees here this quite a bit. Opportunities come to those that people know. All right. So final slide, one of my favorite quotations is by Walt Disney. Do what you do so well that they will want to see it again and bring their friends. Okay, and I like this because it's a nice challenge to step up, and whatever you do it at a level that people want to talk about and they want to share. So think about a concert that you went to, or a movie you saw, or a sporting event, and how you were blown away. And you wanted to relive that experience. You wanted to think about it. You wanted an encore performance. You didn't want it to end. But on top of that, you wanted to tell all your friends and your family about this great movie you saw, or this great concert you went to, or even this great product you saw. So whatever you do, whatever career you get into, whatever your profession is, whatever your calling is, do it at such a level that people will want to continue to engage with you and that they want to tell other people about you. So just a quick example. So going back to career fairs, and so as I mentioned, I interacted with a number of students, and inevitably there are a few students who will stand head and shoulders above the others. And those are the students that I want to have a longer conversation with. Those are students that I want to reach out to after the career fair to stay in touch. And those are students that I can't wait to get back to the office to tell my boss and my coworkers about this great candidate that I saw. And so, so just keep this in mind. Keep that as a challenge to you as a standard for your brand. You want it to be at such a level that people will want to continue to engage with it, particularly employers, and that they'll want to tell their friends and family about you. All right, so that's my presentation. Hopefully you found some value in it. So any questions at all, or any clarification or thoughts about anything I shared? Hopefully it all makes sense. Yes, go ahead.
I have a question.
Sure.
So earlier in the presentation, you guys were talking about like how would you describe your brand? And I was wondering, could you like describe your brand as like evolving? Because like even like all the things around you, like in order to help your brand is also evolving. So wouldn't your brand have to evolve too? So that's what I was just thinking.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I love the way you put it too, because the best brands, the most sustainable brands do evolve. Times change, circumstances change, the market changes. And so in order for brands like a Disney or In-N-Out or others that stay around as long as they've had to evolve. So yes, you can talk about your brand evolving, and hopefully it's going to continue to evolve as you learn more, as you pick up different experiences, as you develop new skills, as you learn more about who you are. Yes, your brand should be evolving, and you can certainly talk about that in an interview. You can, because one of the things I think is great in interviews, sometimes employers will ask you, what's your weakness? And it sounds like a trap question, but it's an opportunity for you to share an area where you are improving and to talk about how you've improved. And that's impressive, because employers know people aren't perfect. They aren't, fully refined. People are constantly evolving. So yes, thank you for that question. That's a great point. Any other questions or thoughts?
My brother Ron, just a quick thought I wanted them to hear me express. I'm doing a lot more of expansion of my programs, and I've done a lot of these virtual fairs, and everything he says is on the money, plus 100% more. You're absolutely right what you said earlier. I want you to expand on it if you want to, Brother Roberts. When you said that you tell the things they normally know about students and stuff, but it can be one little thing. I had a gentleman that I recently bought in. He's amazing. And I went to a USC online fair. And I was an employer. I was picked to be an employer by USC. So I was flossing about that, being picked by USC. But anyway, and I was talking to him. He sounded very normal. And then he said, I don't know how to say this, but the reason why I wanted to interview with you was I'm active in my church, and I've been helping them to get back from COVID. And he said, I also work with the Alumni organization at USC. I said, you know what I said to him after he explained that part? I asked him a question, then I said, when can you start? I didn't even bother to wait, because I saw that he saw himself uniquely as well as just being some student. And I didn't know why as an employer that drew me. And I talked to 12 other people. So there you go. That's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And Deacon Wilson, if I can add one thing too, I think one way to help the students differentiate themselves is think about your accomplishments. Think about what you've achieved up to this point. And even think about some of the tough times you've gone through, because some of you may have come up, have had a tough upbringing, and you've had to face some unique challenges, and so think even about those things, what you've had to overcome. And that can be one way to help you stand out, because employers like to hear stories too. And so think about your accomplishments.
Okay, anybody else?
I have a question. On one of the slides, I kind of missed it. I don't know if it said about something about informative interviews or something. I don't know if you go back to it said ways to to get yourself out or something like that. But I missed it. I don't know what that had meant.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. That's one of my favorite topics. So I'm gonna try to make it quick, because I go on and on about this. So you talk about informational interviewing.
Oh yes.
And Deacon Wilson probably has talked to you about this too.
No, go ahead. I haven't.
Okay. And I actually posted something on LinkedIn. Deacon Wilson, I'm gonna share you my LinkedIn. I'm doing actually a campaign right now to promote informational interviewing. But informational interviewing is basically having conversations with people. I'll make it very simple. People who are doing the kind of work that you want to do and working where you want to work. And so if you want to be an architect or you want to be an engineer, the best people to talk to are those who are actually doing that work. All right. And spending 15, anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes with them, just picking your brain. You know, tell me a little about your job. You know, how'd you get there? What skills are required for this job? What are your work hours? What classes did you have to take? You know, or if you want to work for a certain company, you want to work for Amazon or a Disney. So tell me about your company's culture. What training opportunities provided? You know, what are your company's values? And so just spending just 15 to 30 minutes just picking someone's brain. And so it's very easy to do. And so if you don't know an architect, you can start with Deacon Wilson or somebody else, a teacher or a professor, and just say, hey, you know, I want to get into architecture. And do you know any architects? Yeah, sure. I have a buddy, you know, who's an architect, you know, I'm sure he'd be happy to talk with you. And get people that you know to connect with people that you don't know, set up the meeting and, you know, prepare questions and just, you know, have that conversation. And you can do so many of them, but you're going to get deep insights because you can go ahead and Google architecture all you want and you'll get some great information there, but it's nothing like talking to people who are actually living it. And you can get a lot more insight there too. So I'm encouraging all of you all, if you aren't doing it, to do informational interviewing. It's going to help you to maybe pinpoint some careers that may be a great fit for you and those that are not. And if you identify a career that you think is a great fit, it's going to give you some insight to help you to better navigate into that field and just to know what to expect. And one last thing I'm going to say real quick. You don't go into those informational interviews asking a person for an internship or job. You don't do that because that's not what they're there for. They're there just to give you information.
No. Yeah.
But if you present yourself well enough, there's that possibility that person may keep you in mind. And if they're aware of an internship or a scholarship or some other opportunity, then they may reach back out to you and present that to you too. So that's another.
Wow, now I don't feel guilty about how I got some of my staff. they came to me asking me, Deke, could you, and most people who work for me came through my program like Christina, and they'll come to me and say, hey, could you put my name out there for a job? And I said, what are you gonna be doing the next year if you're gonna do that? And they work with me and they get their job, they stay with me as a contractor. It's kind of funny, and that's why I don't have a lot of turnover. So I've always wondered why that worked. Because they come to me for individual, they're doing an information interview, and I start to like them. Right?
That's the way it works.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. But thank you for bringing that up. Because I love talking about that.
All right, well, we're going to do some offline interviewing with Brother Roberts. Watch your email closely. We'll send you the video as well as the slide deck for my presentation, but you'll want to look at it over and over. There's a lot of good stuff. This is a very good, I knew this would be a good session. It was better than I thought.
Yeah, I'm glad.
So, and so I really want to thank you, Brother Roberts.
Certainly.
And all of you that have come today will be in line for a nice little something. So watch for that too. We got some things we want to do for you for that. Christina, you're not included in that.
Okay.
All right. Take care of the eagle flies every 2 weeks. I'm not worried about you. All right. But nevertheless, I want to thank you guys for coming. It's great seeing you. And we'll have another one in a couple of months. I'll have another speaker, but watch for Brother Roberts and me, because I want to interview him about some of the things he covered he couldn't go into detail on. I wanted to ask him, like, I'm going to do one. What are the 3 things that when you're doing a career fair, you cringe when people do? I'm putting you on the spot.
Yeah. So,
oh my God, I can't believe that happened.
Yeah, I'm trying to think here. Well, I'll say not know anything about our company. So come up to us and not absolutely anything about our company.
What are y'all? Yeah.
So that's one thing. I would also say not giving me, I would say cringe on this too, but not really giving me good eye contact. Oh, this is one thing. Being distracted. That's one of the worst things. And so you came up to me to talk, to get information, and I'm talking to you.
No, don't
now
say.
You're looking to your left, you're looking to your right. And so, yeah, that's another thing, Deacon Wilson.
No.
Yeah, in terms of the third thing, I'm trying to think real quick. What is the third?
Does that last one include looking at your cell phone?
Yes, that would qualify.
Okay.
That would absolutely qualify. Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that when I'm a college rep for GW and they do that. And I go, oh, sister girl, you had it going on until you did that.
Yeah.
All right, that's good. I had other things I wanted to ask you, but I won't do it now. All right, thank you all for coming. I went a little over, but I think you agree it was great content. Thank you for coming. Don't forget my video channel. Go to it, click subscribe. I'll send you some stuff. Me and Christina put together a little email for you that has all your information in. Give us a day and you'll get everything, the video, edited video, and the slide package I had. And brother Roberts will probably put his slide package up on the net for a few weeks. I'll ask Asia David to connect with him. I think he connects with her all the time. She's my webmaster. He just goes right to her. He doesn't go to me no more. He just go right to my webmaster. I'll put stuff. Oh, that's nice. Ron Roberts on my site. Okay. All right. Thank you all very much. God bless you. It was great seeing you. Hope to see you soon. I'm getting around these campuses again. I'll be over to DC in April. And so maybe I'll holler at George on this trip. And then I'm gonna holler at Imani. She know that when I get over there. Okay. All right. God bless you all. Connect with me real soon. Every one of y'all need to talk about something different. Definitely want to talk to you, Esteban, the next day or two. Okay. All right. Okay. Bye-bye now.
Thank you, Wilson.
Hang on,
all the
Ron.
best, you all.
Hang on, Ron. Okay, for 1 second. Bye-bye, you guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Christina, hang on. Bye-bye now.
Thank you, Deacon Wilson.
You're very welcome, Marquise.
Deacon Wilson, I can't hear you for some reason.
Yeah, I can't hear you either.
There you go. There you go.
Okay.
Michelle's going to send you some paperwork for W-9 because we're going to be using you a few more times. So we need to do that. And I'll send you a little something aside from that. But then we're going to get on a regular basis. Okay. I have a proposal for you. All right.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Thanks a lot for everything you've done here today.
Certainly. It was a pleasure.
All right. Bye-bye now.
Okay. Bye-bye now. Take care.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Christina. Bye-bye.